Hello and welcome to part 2 of the interview with Spidermash. In this part we're going to be covering his time with Twisted League, the new mode in old school Runescape, as well as a bit of his experience at Runefest. If you missed the first part, check out the channel and it'll be on there. I'm going to shut up and I hope you enjoy the second part. Third part will be coming out Friday. It's alright, you've got Twisted League to keep you busy, haven't you? You've been doing that.
Twisted League. I am Twisted League out my melon.
So explain it to me. I've never touched old school. I've seen a little bit about it, but explain the concept.
So I also had very little old school knowledge coming into this from the start. So I was very much on the back foot, as you would say, with this. I'd seen bits and bobs when they released it. I saw it like when they announced it. Sorry, on Twitter, of like a time limited area. Everyone's locked to this one area, and then you have to complete challenges to unlock relics. The relics will help you progress through the game. So I was like, on paper, that sounds like an amazing concept.
Yeah.
Having played it, it's even better.
Okay.
So basically, you start on. They've got a massive area called Zaya. It's like almost the size of Gillinor. Like, it's more like the mainland basically for RuneScape. If you can get a map up, you can see the phenomenal size of it. It is a massive area, and you're an Iron Man. You land on that thing, and you automatically everyone gets 5 times base XP. So
5 times base XP.
5 times base XP. So everything you do is 5 times faster.
Okay.
So you kill one goblin, you're cruising up through the levels already. So it makes everything very quick. You don't have to spend hours and hours grinding woodcutting to get to the next level. Like, it's very fast. Out the box, you get to pick from one of 3 relics. The only one that matters is Endless Endurance. If you pick the rest, you're an absolute moron. Sorry, that's the truth. Endless Endurance is exactly what it says on the tin. You have unlimited run energy. So you literally just can run around the map.
Never have to walk or rest or anything like that.
Never have to walk or rest. And your health regen is faster. I can't remember the actual rate. I can tell you right now because I have the relic open. Your run energy will never drain whilst running. Your hit points restore 4 times as quickly. So you can just get your XP faster. So you then have to complete a certain amount of tasks. Certain tasks give a certain amount of points. So for instance, gaining level 20 in a skill will give you 10 points.
Right, okay.
Gaining level 40 in a skill will give you 50 points. Getting to level 60 will give you, I think, another 50 points, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So you just keep going. So the second relic is then unlocked at 400 points, which is pretty easy to do. You then get the choice of Arcane Courier, which is all Wintertod crates, which is a fire-making mini-boss, by the way. Wintertod crates and resources gathered from mining, fishing, woodcutting, harvesting crops, and blast mining are automatically sent to your bank. So basically, you can just sit and AFK fishing, and it'll all just straight to your bank. Unnatural selection. When receiving Slayer tasks, you can choose what you're assigned back to back. So you can just keep picking the same task.
Yep.
You get to pick the back. When receiving farming contracts, you can choose what you're assigned. However, you cannot choose the same contract back to back. And then the one I went for, which is Hardcore Harvester. When you receive 3 times the normal amount of resources from mining, fishing, woodcutting, harvesting herbs, blast mining, and farming contracts. These are additional resources, do not give you XP. And you receive 3 times as many mulch pearls from aerial fishing. Farming cycles occur every 1 minute instead of 5 minutes, thus making farming ridiculously fast, as you can imagine, because you plant things that take 5 minutes to grow, 10 minutes to grow, now grow in 2 minutes.
Yes.
So it makes, and because you're an Iron Man, obviously, the triple herb one is so good. because I'm planting like one Rana seed and I'm getting like nearly like 28 Rana leaves back, which, as you can imagine, for prayer potions,
So helpful.
Really helpful.
So what's the like end goal? Because there's how many like tiers of relics are there? I suppose.
So there's five relics. I'm currently on my 4th relic. The 4th relic I chose. Oh, sorry. The 3rd relic I chose is Eye of the Artisan, which then grants me double XP on top of my 5 times XP in all artisan skills. So effectively, my artisan skills, I'm getting 10 times experience.
Nice.
So that you just absolutely fly through levels. And then the 4th relic I've chose is it's called Treasure Seeker, which then increases the clue drop rate to 1 in 10. So basically, and it also sets all clue steps to the minimum amount. So an easy takes 2 steps, a medium takes 3 steps, hard's are 4 steps. So you can, and because you're locked to one area, there's only a certain amount of places that are the clues. So when you run past one of those areas, especially for the hard clues, there's an area and there's like 30 wizards, Saradomin wizards just spawned because everyone's dug in the same spot. All these wizards have popped up and you've just got loads of people just absolutely slapping wizards because it's the fastest way to get runes, like nature runes and lore runes. And also you get a lot of rune items for Alkin. So obviously if you can, that's an easy way to make money, and then you can use that money for buying more runes, etc. Blah blah.
End goal of Twisted League. So is it like a high score sort of thing? Get the most points and you win, or
so if you get so Wooks. Oh shit! I just dropped my easy clue bottle. Wooks was the first one to unlock the 5th relic. Obviously, because it's Wooks.
Yep.
But I don't actually know the end goal. I know the goal is to get as many points as you can, and if you get a certain amount of points, you unlock a cosmetic Slayer helm add-on or something for the main game.
Okay. Cool.
So there's like cosmetic-y type rewards that you get for completing it and getting a certain amount of points. I think you've got to get some like 250,000 or 25,000 to unlock all the. But I haven't actually looked because I'm not actually that bothered about what. So I'm just having fun.
Having fun with a different version of the game.
Yeah, just having fun with a different version of the game. Learning the different version of the game because at the core it's all the same. You chop a tree, you get the logs, but there's like this method now of fishing that I'm doing. You're getting hunter XP and fishing XP. You've got to be very click intensive. You can't just sit and okay it. So I couldn't tell you any XP rates because obviously they're all skewed because I'm on
10 times and
5 times, everything else like that. But it gives me an idea of what's on this whole new continent that's out there. And I know a lot of people from RS3 are like, yeah, but it's not really actually old school because none of it was there. And you're like, it's not. You're not playing it because it's the game from 2007. You're playing it because it's the style of 2007. You know what I mean? Like everything. Although it's a whole new area, it's all done in the graphical style, and all the bosses are in. Obviously, they're a little bit finer, refined, but they're still very much old school, and it's still very much that old school feel.
Yeah, which I mean, obviously, do you reckon it's mostly the combat system, and that's why?
I don't know. I think a lot of it is PKing. PKing is still a massive thing on this. Like, and I've always said, if you play RuneScape and you want to PK, play old school, because RS3 is dead. No one PKs on RS3.
No.
Well, unless they're in a clan that PKs, and they normally just kill people at warbands, which is easy clap anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the actual player killing worlds on RS3, you're never going to have more than about 30 players on there at any one time. Whereas, obviously, old school, a little bit different. I haven't played it, but I've watched a fair few videos on YouTube. There's loads of stuff out there.
And obviously, they don't have the key binds. They don't. So everything is very hand-eye coordination, clicking. You've got to be very fast with your prayer flicks, and you've got to know what's. you've got to try and predict what people are doing, I guess. I wouldn't know, but from what I've watched of videos and stuff, it seems to be very. You've got to try and predict that person's going to do that, so you're going to get the prayer flick out first, so that you get it. You know what I mean?
It's a much faster kind of duel.
All that, and obviously it's all easy to watch, and you know what's going on. Oh, he switched to that weapon. Oh, he did that. Whereas RS3, half the time you're doing abilities, and then you see them happening, but you wouldn't be able to. You know what I mean? Obviously, you can tell when they do a deep breath. You can tell when they do a sphinx, but in between that, you can't.
It's a lot harder to differentiate.
It's a lot harder to differentiate. Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm really enjoying it. As far as and streaming, it's been enjoyable as well. I was very burnt out after getting Comp Cape on RS3 because of just concentrating on trying to do that. There's the Telos doesn't really interest me as far as PVMing wise. I really enjoy doing racks. I really enjoy like God Wars Dungeon 2 and Elite Dungeons 2. Elite Dungeons 3, I did it on release. It's all right. But I've not soloed it. I can't solo it. I've tried it a few times, and again the same with ED1. I haven't soloed it, so
that could be a possible future like thing.
Yeah, maybe come back and do that.
So is there? Do you reckon if they ever tried to do something like Twisted League in RS3, it would work? Or not?
Definitely, 100%. I would love an RS3 Twisted League. I think it would be great for the game. It's very good content for streaming because of the XP rates that are accelerated. It gives you a. I dropped that clue again. I know. It gives you short-term goals.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
so in one streaming session, you can be like, all right, I'm going to do all this. Whereas for people that are still skilling in RS3, it's quite a slow grind for streaming content anyway.
Yeah, and speaking to people that play RS3 that have played Twisted Leagues, a lot of us are saying the like the desert area, so from like Al-Qarid all the way down into Menethos, because you've got the Slayer dungeon, you've got God Wars Dungeon 2, obviously with Telos as well.
Yeah.
With the accelerated rates, you could get there pretty quickly. You've got all the fishing area, you've got all of Menethos, which everything like that. Obviously, because it's like technically it's a separate server. They could also add bits into it, so they could add a farming patch. So you've got the farming patch there to train your farming up. They can add little bits in. You know what I mean? So there's always.
It doesn't have to be exactly as it is.
Which is what a Twisted League is the same. Like you get the Slayer Master here, but he's like a top end in normal game. But obviously this, you go to him at level 1 and he gives you level 1 assignments. You know what I mean?
It's all scaled appropriately.
So it'll scale so that you can do all the content without being stuck. Apart from, and they already give you some quests. They already give you Dragon Slayer so that you can wear Rune Plate Body. They give you 15 agility, I think, which is the requirement. One of the requirements to start barbarian fishing, which is the only way to train agility until you unlock the Winter Todd. There's an agility shortcut inside Winter Todd, which is the other method of training agility. So,
okay.
But like the meta that everyone does is they spend about an hour to get to 50 wood fire making. They do mining and get and smith themselves a steel axe, and then they go straight to Winter Todd. Sit there because there's a lot of rewards for completing a certain amount of games, but also Winter Todd basically is the easiest to do with the lowest HP because you get damage over time.
Right.
So what you do is you thieve a load of the cakes, have a load of cakes, like 10 cakes in your inventory, and then you can just sit there and a cake will heal you because it hits you for 10% of your hit points. So obviously if you get over 40, it's going to start hitting you for a 4. And sometimes it can just hit you for 4 back to back to back. So if you're not concentrating, you're dead before you know it. Whereas with the lower HP, you can eat eat one slice of cake and full health yourself again. So
are there quests and stuff?
So there is quests, because obviously this area has quests. So the quests, you can do the quests, and then this area, Zaya, has current favor
So
for
rep
each of the
almost.
5. Yeah, so for each of the 5 cities, and then those unlock extra things. So the Hasidius area, which has got the farming patch on, once you get 100 favor in Hasidius, which is quite easy to get, your farm patches are automatically protected. They're all protected, so you can literally just plant it whatever you want, leave it, come back the next day, and it won't be diseased.
Okay,
which is really cool.
so
yeah,
again,
there's loads of.
that would work similar to like Menethos stuff.
Yeah, so it's a bit like the Menethos stuff. So that's really cool, and the quests reward you with like a 10%, 20% in that quest. So it's quite cool. It's a learning curve, but it's not so steep that you feel like out of depth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean,
and also being a streamer helps, because I've got friends who play old school. So when they saw me streaming old school, they were here and they were like, "Let's go."
They were your guide.
Yeah, and also just at Runefest as well. I spoke to a lot of old school streamers and old school people. So seeing them now and talking to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." Yeah.
So what would you say your favourite boss is in the game?
Oh, favourite boss. I really enjoyed Hellware. When I was at that level, I loved Hellware. I loved the once you've got it down, you can sit there for an hour easily with no food if you get the resonance timed right. I like it's a medium tier boss, I'd say, that you can make a fair amount of money from with the especially before mining and smithing, with the general drops. It's a good 6-7 mil an hour with these.
Because he drops quite a lot of herbs as well, so he's probably quite good at the moment.
Yeah, so it's probably quite good at the moment as well. So it's just a consistently good boss. And it's fun. It's not too challenging, but it's challenging enough.
You have to pay attention.
You have to pay attention. You can't. It's not one of those where you can just sit back and resonant sleeper, which is good. And
then a favourite quest? Obviously, you've done them all.
I have done them all. I like the new one. The Violet is Blue.
The Christmassy one.
Yeah, the Christmassy one. Very aesthetically pleasing. Nice short little quest. Decent reward. I think I've done it 3 times now, because I've done it on the QBD Iron Man, my Iron Man, and my main. I love that I've done it. I've done it on my QBD Iron Man before I actually did it on my main. But that's what it is. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So
how was the QBD race?
Apart from the dying bit at the end, it was really fun. Again, it was another fresh start in a race. So you are competing, so it gives you that competitive edge. Although I went into it not having a plan, and then got a plan, and then decided actually this plan's taking way too long. So at 100 quest points, just thought, jacket, I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna go for the I'm just gonna go with the G staff, having already done 100 quest points. Yeah. So in hindsight, I probably should have just gone for that plan straight out of the bat, but never mind.
And it all ended in a little bit of disaster as well.
It all ended in a cha-cha slide into fire. So insert clip here if you want.
Oh, I will. Don't worry.
that was definitely the muggiest way. I was stood for a good 2 seconds in that gap, and then he just goes across. Nah.
Oh, there were quite some deaths from everybody in that.
Oh, yeah.
How many?
I think everyone was just cocky. Everyone didn't realise how hard it actually was going to be.
Because how many people actually completed it in the end? Was it literally just one, or was there a few?
I think 3, maybe 4 completed it, but Kibium did it in the fastest. Ryan did it. Ryan did do it, but he took a long time. He took like a good 30, 40 hours because he went for the ranged method, which was completely different to everyone else. But obviously, you've got to complete. You had to complete that quest line, the elf quest line, to get the crystal bow, which in itself has a lot of recs to get skill wise. So, but yeah, it was a good challenge. I'd definitely like to do something similar again. So yeah, really good. But again, it's another thing. We shouldn't have to, as content creators, do these sort of challenges ourselves. We don't get the old school. We don't get what old school get. We don't get Twisted Leagues. We don't get Deadman mode. We don't get all these different game modes where streamers. We don't get like the All Stars PvP. You know what I mean? We don't have anything. Everything that challenge wise, where we have to challenge other streamers, we have to do these things ourselves, is all us. We don't get anything. We get a bit of kickback and a bit of advertising from the RuneScape Twitter and stuff, but we're not getting any content from them.
Yeah,
we're not
it's
getting,
not an official not an officially supported thing.
Everything's unofficial. Exactly. We're not getting like, oh, here's a special like dungeoneering mode where you like all compete, run through a floor and try and do it in the fastest time in teams, and then, you know what I mean, like randomly selected teams type thing.
I mean, I suppose they did try and do that with the Anachronia Big Game Hunter thing back in the summer, but that didn't really work for the clans. And
no,
that's sort of the problem as well. Probably because people didn't seem to compete in that really at all.
No, I mean I didn't. I know Wazzy did.
Yeah,
but again, you've got to spend a lot of time. The rewards weren't there. You've got to have something. Everyone values XP over time. If it's the fastest method, that's the one they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's no other way to get people into it.
No, that's why minigames are dead, etc., because no one wants
to waste their time.
Everything's XP waste.
Yeah, there needs to be some way of getting the fun back into the game. But I mean, that's quite a challenge, really. I don't know if you've got any. Obviously, like you said, a similar thing to Twisted League, that kind of thing. But how would you fix minigames? Or is it just too late?
It's too late. Minigames, no one, unless there's a really good reward that's non-tradable, that is worth the time, that is worth doing, then it ain't gonna happen.
So is there one thing that you'd change about RS3?
At the moment, everything seems to be headed in the right direction. Getting rid of, making MTX less force, less heavy, less. You know what I mean? Like the Yak Track. I think the Yak Track's a good idea. I haven't really looked into it, but from what I'm seeing on Reddit, some of the requirements are a little bit ridiculous. Like I think I saw one the other day that was like make marble statues in your house or something for construction, and it worked out at like 100 mil requirement. Yeah. Ain't nobody spending 100 mil to unlock a cosmetic. No matter, well, they probably are, but that's because they've got a lot of money that they can just spend doing it. You know what I mean? But your average player isn't going to have 100 mil knocking about to be able to spend. But I don't know whether they've fixed that.
I don't know, because I thought it was a choice of 2 tasks as well.
Yeah,
so you can always do the other one.
The one is complete. I think that one, the marble one, is complete 15 warped floors or higher, and then do that construction one, which locks player, I guess, unless it changes scales. I don't know, but that's something I haven't looked into because I've not really been on finger on the pulse with all the in-game updates at the moment. I log in, I do a couple of dailies, and then I'm out.
Yeah, the reworking dailies. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. I haven't seen the blog post. I saw it on the live stream last night that they are making them less grindy. Like the fire making one again. That's another thing. The fire making one is light all the beacons. Like who's going? You've got so lighting all the beacons. The only way you're going to make it quick is if you've already lit all the beacons once, got the achievement, then gone back, filled all your log stores up with logs, and then spend half an hour running from one end of the map to the other end of the map, filling it with logs and lighting it for some fire making XP and a treasure hunter key.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when fire making is the most AFK skill.
Yeah, people just don't need it.
You can just sit at the brazier.
And away you go.
Away you go. Which again, fire making, it's a skill that everyone gets 99 in, but then what do you use it for? What do you use fire making for?
Well, it's just that little bonfire boost. And incense sticks as well, I suppose, isn't it?
And incense sticks now, which are great. But again, another really expensive add-on to PVM, sorry. Another extra thing that's costing you, that's just taking the money away from your gains per hour because you're spending, especially now with the price of herbs.
Yeah, it's just more setup cost.
It's just another, yeah.
But I mean, that's always going to be the way it's going to progress. Really, it's going to be tricky to make it cheaper and still make you feel like you're more powerful. Yeah, I mean, that is just power creep. It'll just eventually end up that way. Like obviously the new Elder Overloads, that little bit extra boost. It's just just the way stuff will eventually have to go.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. So, but then the power boost then just makes more content irrelevant again. Like God Wars Dungeon 2, if you're good at God Wars Dungeon 2, you're getting sub 1 minute kills. That was before all this, before the incense sticks and before these new splash potions and all of that. So I haven't looked, but and I don't know if anyone has bothered, but I'd imagine that then those times are going to come down again, which is then going to increase your GP an hour. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Endlessly inflating economy.
Yeah, and making more content irrelevant at the same time.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Let's go back to October. Runefest. You featured on the stream. How was that?
I did indeed with Mr. Ilwazi.
Have a good time?
It was good. It was nice to be on there. Unfortunately, I couldn't hear a single word that bird was saying, but that's because she was talking into a mic and we didn't have headsets, like earpieces, so we couldn't actually, especially with the the noise in the background and everything, which is why I had to then get everything relayed to be read by Mark because Mark was sat next to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, he flicked me off on stream, gave me the fingers. I didn't mean to insult him because I said something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, you were really good last night," inferring that we'd just spoken about the violinist, and obviously the meme of the night was that she dressed like the violinist. So I was like, "Oh yeah, I really enjoyed you you were really good last night," and then Mark was like, "Oh, gee, thanks," and then and I was like, "No, I meant the violinist." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure," and I was like. Oh. But yeah, it was great. Wazzy was very, and obviously it was awkward because we already knew what the reveals for the 120s were, and the whole point of us going on the sofa was for the reveals for the 120. So then we can't just turn around and be like, "Well, I think it's going to be farming and herb lord," and then they're like, "Why do you think that?" And you're like,
no reason.
No reason. So then I had to be like, summoning and prayer, like, yeah, GG. Kind of stitched, but that's a RuneScape error, not us.
Yeah.
But there you go. Classic. Would it be RuneScape if something did go wrong?
So, have you been to many RuneFests, or was this your first one?
That was number 2. The first year was last year when I was up for the best new gnome streamer, RS3. That one that I lost to Wazzo, obviously. So I came 4th, apparently. According to my stream, I came 4th. I hold it that I came second because out of the 4 streamers that were nominated, one doesn't stream, one's permabanned, and one's Wazzy. So I'm going with I came second, but we'll see it.
Twitch chat will be Twitch chat.
Twitch chat will be Twitch chat, and would it be my stream if it wasn't me being memed? Let's be honest.